A delightfully leathered Jess had 3 pints of cider and 4 double JD and Cokes with this one.
This is the story of the most nightmarish holiday that became the most artistically productive holiday in history, thanks to a teenage girl. It's 1816. Lord George Byron, he's a very famous poet. Don't you know him? And he was suffering from infamy. Basically, Lord George Byron had fucked his sister. Okay? Everyone said, Lord George Byron, get out of town. No, we don't mean that figuratively, we mean get out of town. You fucked your sister. Lord George Byron goes, half-sister, by the way. Okay, I'm a bit scandalous. You can't handle this. Yeah, I fucked my sister, but in years to come, you'll be studying me at GCSE. So Byron decided to flee England. And he's like, hang on a minute, I've got to go to the doctor and get my jabs. So Byron goes to see his doctor. He's called John William Polidori. Byron's like, I'm going on holiday, doc, I need my jabs. And the doctor's like, cool, I'll sort you out. Hepatitis A, B, C, D, F, G. And he's like, so doc, what are you up to this weekend? And the doctor goes, I don't know, I'm working. Byron goes, fuck work, come on holiday with me. And the doctor's like, get in, I fucking love my life. Byron goes, bring some drugs, mate. Some of them prescription ones, what you got? Laudanum, which is a liquefied form of opium. Polydor's like, where are we going? Byron's like, Geneva. Doctor goes, all right, doesn't sound like the greatest holiday vacation of my life, but the laudanum should see to that. So off they fuck. They're on the way. Lads, lads, lads. I do not know my doctor well enough to invite him on holiday. Meanwhile, Percy Shelley, another celebrated poet, he's married, but he's got this lover, Mary Godwin. She's, what, 16? He's saying to Mary, all right, we need to spend some time together away from the wife. Mary's like, we do, Percy, yeah. Percy, what's your point? Percy's like, I want to take you on holiday. Mary's like, I am bang up for a holiday, Percy. What I want out of this holiday, Percy, is fish bowls. I want karaoke. I want wet t-shirt competitions. Percy's like, yeah, we can make all of that happen. Thinking, no, it's just a villa in Geneva. It's going to be shit. So they all arrive at the villas in Geneva. Mary's like, oh, Geneva looks good. Ugh. In the future, this is where people will go to die. Percy's like, come on, Mary, it's not all bad. Look at the beautiful view, and look, hang on a minute, who's this character coming up the drive? Oh my God, I think that might be Lord George Byron. Mary's like, is he the guy who fucks his sister? Percy's like, half-sister. So Percy and Mary, they knock on the next door villa. Byron, it's me, Percy. Come in, come in, come in. Polydor's sitting in the corner. He's got an array of drugs around him. Powders, potions. He's got 2 joints coming out of his nose. He's wearing a helmet that says on it, good times. He's off his box. he's off his tits. He's in the corner going, this is what I trained for. Mary's like, get in, my friend. I want to be mates with that guy. So, hang on.
How are you feeling, by the way?
I feel like I should be wearing a helmet saying good times. So one night, everyone's off the tits. Lord George Byron is telling them all a ghost story. Byron's like, all of a sudden, Shelley puts his hands over his face and screams. Mary's like, what the fuck is happening to my boyfriend? And they chuck a load of water on him. It's like, I'm sorry. I thought I saw a woman with eyes for tits. Mary's like, you fucking lightweight. So basically, Percy's been spooked, but he cracks on. They get back into the party vibe. Byron's like, all right, okay, here's my idea of how we're gonna make this party the best party it can possibly be. You're gonna absolutely love this game. We all write a book. And Mary Shelley's like, oh, for fuck's sake, have I actually got to write a book on holiday? This is like worse than school. Mary's like, fuck my life. I'm going to sleep. Mary goes to sleep. It's like stormy outside and it's thundering and it's nighttime and it's all like gothic. With a crack of lightning, Mary wakes up in the middle of the night. Ah! What was that? I've just had a dream about a monster with loads of different body parts and a doctor who can reassemble the body parts, run electricity through them and make it into another being. Hang on a minute. That's a fucking good idea for a story. And then she fell asleep again. The day has come for all four of them to share their stories. All right, story time. Percy, shoot. Percy's like, well, there once upon a time, there was a man who had a shoe. You haven't done it, have you? And Percy's like, no, I'm really sorry, I haven't done it. And Baron's like, thanks, Percy. Polydor, what have you got? Polydor's off his tits. He's been up for 4 days. Eggs. Mary Godwin, what have you got? Mary's like, last night I had a bit of a mental dream. I just wrote that down so you can hear it if you want. There's a monster. There's a load of body parts who's being stuck together by a doctor. They're enraptured by this story. Then what happens, Mary? Then what happens? Mary, then what happens? She's like, you wouldn't believe the monstrosity of this story. It's the dark tale. Baron's like, this is a fucking great story, Mary. No, more than that. This is a better story than I could write. Mary's like, thanks, guys. I mean, all right, yeah, well, it's quite a good story, but I thought I was just coming here to have a good time, but... I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe, like, I did come up with something quite good. Then, Mary Godwin, she married Percy Shelley. She went on to write all of that story into a book, which is what we now know as Frankenstein. The moral of this story is, if you go on holiday and you don't write a best-selling book, then you've failed as a 16-year-old.
A steaming Joe Lycett went off the rails for this one, drinking 1 Bloody Maria, a bottle of white wine, 5 vodka Chambord cocktails, and a shot of tequila.
Let me tell you now about the great train robbery of 1963. What many people believe to be the greatest crime of the 20th century. Let me begin. It's the 60s. Everyone's loving life. They're like, hey, it's the 60s. Everyone's very accepting. Everyone does whatever the fuck they want. But amongst all this crazy times, there's some crazy guys, 2 of which are Bruce Reynolds and Gordon Goody. Gordon Goody is a thief, but Gordon Goody also has a little side business. He likes to cut ladies' hair. So he'll, you know, take your bag, give you a perm. And he's cutting Bruce Reynolds' hair. And they're having a little chat and they're saying, God, I don't have enough money to enjoy this swinging 60s thing, really. And Bruce says, literally all I can afford is this haircut, so I'm hoping this is a good haircut, Gordon. And Gordon's like, don't worry about it, I'm very good at men's hair. What do you say? Men's hair. So Goody says to Reynolds, I've heard about a train from a bent solicitor. And he's like, what's a bent solicitor? And he's like, he's not a gay man, don't worry. He's a bit crooked. He's like, thank God for that, because gays are the absolute worst. And I, Joe Lycett, agree they are the absolute worst. Jesus. He said, I've heard from this bent solicitor that there's a train that goes from Glasgow to London with millions upon millions of pounds. And he goes, yes, yes, I am in. I am in. God knows how money was coming out of Glasgow. STDs, in my experience, is what's come out when I've been in Glasgow. I hope you're well, Pablo. And he says, well, we need to assemble a team, don't we? And he's like, well, we need someone who's a technical guy. I know someone called Ryan Reynolds, Robert Reynolds, Peter Reynolds, Ryan and Reynolds.
Roger Corddry.
Roger Corddry. He's like, I know someone called Roger Corddry who just happens to be sat in the hairdressers. And he looks over to him and he says, Corddry! Corddry! He's like, hello, Reynolds, how are you? And Reynolds says, I'm looking to do a train robbery. Are you in? He's like, yeah. Yeah, I know how to steal a train. I've done it loads of times. What's on the train? And they went, millions of pounds. And he went, all right, I'll do my best. So he was well in, he was keen. So Reynolds had his haircut and he thinks, I need a driver for this train. And this guy just sort of pops out and goes, hello, I'm called Peter and I can drive trains. Have you got any credentials? Yes, I have. Can I see them? No, you can't. Not right now. I'll print them out later. And he's like, yeah, that'll do. So the full crew are now assembled and they're ready for the robbery. It's the 7th of August, 1963, and they meet alongside the tracks in the dead of night, ready to take down the big old train from Glasgow. Ronnie Biggs is also there. You might have heard of Ronnie Biggs, but he didn't do a great deal, so I don't give a shit about him. Everybody stays undercover until about 3 a.m. when the train approaches. So the train's approaching. It's approaching quickly. And Roger Corddry says, this is my moment, guys. This is the time for me to show just how capable I am. They're like, how is Corddry going to do this? There's a green and a red light, but the green light is showing quite brightly. How is he going to stop a train? And then he just takes the glove off, just pops it over the green light. And they're like, is that it? And he's like, no. And then he gets the battery out of his pocket and put it into the red light. That's what you paid me the millions for. So the train stops. They get into the kind of cabin where the driver is. And obviously the driver's not cool about that. And he's like, piss right off. If you think you're getting my train with all these millions of pounds on it, you can go and shit in a well, actually. They're like, no, we're having it. We are having it. And he's like, no, shit in a well. No, we're having it. Shit in a well. Somebody knocks him out for no reason. They say, Peter, it's your moment. It's time to drive this train. And he goes, yeah, I can't drive this train. The trains I've driven have been slightly different in the kind of the buttons and stuff. And they go, well, it says go or stop. And he's like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know which one to press on that one. Peter, surely, if you really think about it, probably go is the one. Yeah, I mean, that's what they want you to think. Well, maybe wake up the other driver and see what he's going to do. And then he sort of sits up and goes, well, of course you press fucking go, you pricks. They press go, they're going. Thank fuck for that. So they stop the train and they take £2.5 million off the train and they say to the driver, don't move for half an hour. Watch an episode of Friends and a bit. Chill out. So they scarper to Leverslade Farm. They're celebrating big time. Ice cold beers all night long. And the Buckinghamshire Police call in Detective Tommy Butler from the flying squad. So Tommy Butler's walked up to the driver and said, what did they say to you, you disgrace to driving? They said, don't do anything for 30 minutes. And he went, ha, ha, ha. They're within 30 minutes of this location. Scour! I've foiled their plan, those fucking pricks, because I'm a clever cat. Meow! So, the police are onto them, but they have a police radio that is telling them what's going on, and they're listening to the crimes.
Somebody's stolen a quiche. Somebody has exposed themselves in the post office. Somebody has stolen 2.5 million from a train 30 minutes away from this location.
Shit, they're bad! I don't know what to do. Let's all get naked. They all get naked for no reason. Why have we done this? DNA? I don't know, some sort of DNA thing. Clear up, clear the place up. Clear up the place, get the money there. We've got to go, they're on to us, they're on to us! And they leave. They scarper into the forest. The police discover the farmhouse. Tommy Butler and all of his lads. Hey, we're all the lads. They go into the house. There's real money strewn everywhere. They're using a UV light to find DNA everywhere. And I don't know if you didn't know this, but UV light really shows up jizz. And they're finding a lot of jizz. Butler's going, these guys are monsters. These guys are jizzing wherever they want. Amongst all this jizz, they find fingerprints. Fingerprints galore, which is the first big clue. The second big clue is Roger Corddry spending big money on biscuits. I'm not talking about a couple of biscuits. He's buying a ton of biscuits, and that's what catches him out. And Tommy Butler swoops in and goes, gotcha! You're using notes from the great train robbery. And he goes, oh, fuck, I shouldn't use them, should I? Oh, it's embarrassing. And he goes, yeah, fair enough. I did the great train robbery. And actually, I'm quite relieved, because I got this key shoved right in my anus. And I'm glad to get rid of it. Here you go. Merry Christmas. And the key leads them to a car in which all the money is kept. And that leads them to Bruce Reynolds and all the other lads, and it takes them all down. The headlines read, "The great crime of the century." There's a lot of jizz in that house. Terrible amount of jizz. That was the Daily Star. And they all went down for 20 to 30 years. And that, my friends, is the story of the great train robbery. One of the greatest and most incompetent crimes of the 20th century. Namaste.